Welcome back. So we're going to continue on our lesson video and notes from last week 1. And we're going to be working with the pink notes. So if you go to your class notes right there in your Schoology for English, open up week 1 notes. It's thinking. It wants to work so hard. There they go. So we're going to be working in the pink notes. Oh, it's still thinking. It's saying, Miss Berthoff, you need to go home. Maybe? I don't know. You can hear the Jeopardy music going on. Do, 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 do. Hopefully it's loading for you. See, I can see that bottom page. There it goes. Okay. So we're going to be working in the pink notes called Poetry of Identity. So I'm going to bring that up on my dock camera. This lesson, Poetry of Identity, has 6 vocabulary words. We're talking with the word analyze because we are going to be analyzing poems. You're going to do a lot of analyzing of texts and stories and poems. Analyze just means to study a text closely and carefully, which means you're going to break it down. Central idea. Those who had me last year, I teach it like the word main idea. And so the word main idea is a synonym for central idea, and it's the author's most important idea or concept in the text. And then we have the word express. And when we're talking about poetry expresses. So it shows our feelings and ideas, which then leads us to the word figurative language. Now, figurative language, just as it's used in poetry, it's also used in stories. And figurative language is the language that expresses something beyond its literal meaning. So instead of having its dictionary word, its literal meaning, it goes beyond that. Then you have the word relevant. And the word relevant means to connect to the topic or idea. Subject. That's easy. Subject is a thing being discussed. Like right now, our subject is poetry, such as the topic of the work of the literature. Okay, so our question for this lesson is, how do figurative language and central ideas express identity in a poem? Which means we have to break down that question. So we have to break down and understand that figurative language plus central ideas gives us the poetry identity. So it gives us why the poem was written. Okay? Here's this word expectations again. So our expectations about identity of a poem or poetry is being around people can sometimes change a person's identity. My life trauma, my life story, my life itself, my experiences, my opinion is different than Miss Moore's. Okay? I can read a poem or a story and I can interpret it a different way than Miss Moore because I've made different connections, because I have different experiences. Interesting. Okay. Which then brings us to central idea in a poem or in a story. So a central idea is a writer's most important idea or concept of literature. So it's what the whole thing is about. Okay? It is not the subject. It's not. So if I'm reading a story about volcanoes, that's not my central idea. It's what I'm talking about. It's my topic, my subject. But it's not my central idea. I'm probably learning about how volcanoes are made or the types of volcanoes. That's my central idea. Okay, your subject is one word. So I have an example. The subject of the poem could be Miss Moore. Okay, one word. She's the topic. She's the subject. But the central idea could be how sarcastic she is. Okay? There are steps to finding the central idea. And if you do these 4 steps in a poem or even in a text, you will be successful. So when we're trying to find the central idea of a poem or text, we need to read the text or poem. Duh. We have to read first. Who would have thought? It's a reading class. Read it. And so then you look for words and phrases that are repeated to find your subject. So if you can find that repeated word or phrase, you can find that subject, which then can help you find that central idea because you're going to start to make those connections. Find details relevant to the subject. Well, like I said, so if you find those repeated words or phrase, you're going to find that subject, which then you're going to start to make connections with the details. Okay? And then think about how all the details work together with the subject to form that main idea or that central idea. Then we can talk about figurative language. Now, you have heard this word since you were in a 3rd grader, probably even a 2nd grader. I know you heard it as a 6th grader because I was a 6th grade teacher. I taught it. So figurative language is a language that expresses something beyond its literal meaning. And I said that when we went over our vocab words. Figurative language is used to do 3 things. It's used to create images and strong feelings for our audience who are reading it. It's used to make comparisons. So instead of saying that he is doing like he is like this, it makes it a little bit more fun, a little bit more detailed than you just being straightforward with it. It's able for your readers to really get involved in the poem or the story because you draw them in with that detail. We're going to be adding to this list. Right now, we're only going to talk about similes, metaphors, and hyperboles. This is a review of what you've had before. So first, a simile compares unlike things using the word like and as. Examples. You were brave as a lion. That's comparing you to a lion. They fought like cats and dogs. That's comparing they to cats and dogs. Metaphors compare unlike things by saying one is another. And this is what I stress when I teach metaphors. Yes, it's comparing two unlike things by saying one is another, but it's not using like and as. If you see like or as, that's not a metaphor. Okay? So my examples are the classroom was a zoo. I'm comparing how the classroom is acting to a zoo. He is a night owl. I'm comparing he to a night owl. My favorite figurative language are hyperbole. And that's because you get to be exaggerate. Like you get to exaggerate, be sarcastic with your writing. So hyperboles are an exaggeration to make a point. So the examples I put are, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. I died of embarrassment. You can't die of embarrassment. And you can't be so hungry that you could eat a whole horse. You're a child. It's not possible. Okay? So those are all examples of figurative language. Okay, so that should help you on that. Remember, this was for the poetry of identity. So you're going to use that notes to go back and to improve any scores or what you're struggling in that. All right, I hope that helped. Have a great day.